Hi, I'm Dr. Brian Roadhouse. You know, when you have a chronic condition, there can be a lot of things that go wrong with you that wouldn't go wrong in a normal person. There's two parts of the immune system, Th1, Th2, and they both have to work together at the same time and within a certain ratio. So one of them is identifier, that's a bad cell, and the other one is the one that goes and destroys that bad cell. And so for your immune system to work right, they have to be within a certain ratio so they work right. If it's above the ratio, then you're going to be Th1 dominant. You're probably thinking Th1 dominant, Th2 dominant, what's he's talking about? No one's ever talked about that. That's right. Most doctors don't know about this test. Most doctors don't do this test. But what happens is it gives us information as to what the problem is. So if you're Th1 dominant, you're going to have a chronic low-grade infection that could be mold, fungus, yeast, bacteria, virus, parasites. And in a normal person, a low-grade infection might not bother them and they might be able to fight it off. But if your Th1 is dominant, we do the test and then we know we're looking for this and we got to get this taken care of. It could be one of 10 to 15 things that we found, but we have to take care of it. Now, if you're Th2 dominant, it usually means that you're insulin resistant. Insulin resistance is your blood sugar. And most doctors, when they do the test, if your blood sugar is between, say, 99 and 129, they call it pre-diabetic because there's really not a whole lot they can do for it, and you're going to go on to diabetes. We can fix that for you with a fast and then a restrictive diet over a period of time and get your blood sugar back normal again, and you don't have to go into diabetes. The other thing it could be is heavy metal. You know, you could have, all our food has certain amount of arsenic, mercury, and all that stuff. Our food is not sterile. And so you might be allowed to have, point so much arsenic in the food. There's a lot of protein drinks that have arsenic in it. And higher levels than what it should be. So that can affect, and you can get what's called heavy metal poisoning, and we have to address that. Usually that's because the liver is not functioning properly. I've had patients that had chelation therapy to get rid of the heavy metal, and the heavy metals that were high, when they go and do the retest, they're low, but now something else is high because the chelation goes in there and binds to it and gets rid of it, but the liver is not working. And in a chronic health problem, your liver is going to be sluggish, not working right. The other thing it could be is a good bacteria versus a bad bacteria. I had one patient that had a chronic health problem, and when we did these tests, it came back that she was high in Klebsiella pneumonia, which is one of the common bacterial infections that causes pneumonia. So her bad bacteria was way high in comparison to the good bacteria. So it gives us an idea as to, and then we do further testing. One of the tests we do is a stool test. And it's the best lab in the country. And what they do is when you do a stool sample, you freeze it and we overnight it to them. Because a lot of the minor things that might be wrong that are usually not a problem for most patients are for a patient that has a chronic health problem. So when you do a stool sample, it sits in the lab and it degrades over time. And so a lot of the things that show up when you freeze it aren't going to be there. So we send these labs out and they check for a lot of different things. Parasites, they check for the good bacteria, bad bacteria. And so I had this patient that she went to visit the Grand Canyon. And after they visited the Grand Canyon, they stayed up in a little town up there and they had these, springs that you're supposed to sit in for good health. Within an hour and a half from there, from being in the spring, she had diarrhea and she's had it for 6 years. She came in, we evaluated her, she's a candidate, we did the testing, came back, and I told her, guess what, you've got parasites. She jumped up and down and gave me a hug. I've never had that reaction before, and the reason it was, that kind of a reaction is, I was her 6th doctor. She's had 5 tests, no parasites. We did the test, she's got parasites. So obviously they missed it, those other 5 labs. We use the best labs in the world to find these problems. You wouldn't use these on most of the patients, but on someone that's been everywhere, you want to do something different. So if you have a chronic condition and you're tired of it, you're frustrated, you want to go to a doctor that's going to do something different. I mean, I believe if you go to another doctor and he's going to do the same tests that you had done the other doctors, how in the world are you going to get any different results? We're going to do things differently. Come into the office, let's do a free consultation examination and see if you're a candidate for our program. Call us at 918-481-2770.